Okay, wait.
Here and here.
I feel like I'm.
Okay. Then if you
ready?
appear here. Sit down there. Sit down
I
there.
can go.
Sit down. He said sit down.
Sit the fuck in the chair. Guys, relax. He's a communications major.
Apparently it's not working.
Emphasis in writing.
Go more to the right.
Emphasis in writing.
Go more to the right, please. Go more to the right, please.
Here?
Yeah.
You.
Right. Yeah. Sit more. A little bit more.
Conference or something.
A little bit more.
It's too full.
Sarah, more.
A little bit more,
More.
please.
Dang, bro.
We need to be more formal.
Okay, there.
They need to be pushed out then? Yeah.
Yeah.
We all gotta look like penguins.
Because you're gonna be black.
Imagine, bro. And we all have black sunglasses. Capes.
Jake, your left hand is appearing, not much appearing. If you turn a little bit more to the side.
Does he need his left hand?
Does he need it?
Just move the camera back.
Bro, he's trying to
just
be
your
biblical,
hand.
bro. It's the right
It's
hand.
for your
You gotta see
reflection.
it.
You don't want your hand up here, it's
Sitting
okay.
like this. Him is sitting at his right hand.
No.
There,
What do
yeah.
you think?
Just that
Sorry,
side doesn't
grab
allow
my
that. Check to the left.
I'm at your right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready?
What if
Can
we,
we can we go hand slate all together? 1, 2, 3, and slate.
Wait,
what?
how do we, like, how do we not interrupt one another?
Huh?
How do we not interrupt one another?
Hey, excuse me.
Huh?
Talking.
Yeah, what's the...
I wasn't done.
Okay, we're gonna start. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well?
Doing well. Okay.
Nice.
We'll
How
just
are
get
you?
started. I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for asking. Okay, first question. What is most important to guys to find in a girl? Just straightforward.
Can you repeat the question again?
Okay. What is most important to guys to find in a girl? Guys! Girls were like answering like right away.
She has to be a Calvinist.
Just go for it.
Yes.
No, are we assuming that they're, like in this context specifically, they're already believers?
That's a good call.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
that's the first
Yeah, yeah,
instinct you would have is to
Sure.
answer in that
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
So we're already assuming they're Christians.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And the third girls.
Mhm.
And
Ah!
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they're girls and they're Christians.
That's a good point.
Just get it out. Say it.
The most important thing to find. The most important thing. I would definitely say like, and this goes for both girls and guys. Somebody that loves God more than they love their partner. Like,
Mhm.
if I like if I was looking for a girlfriend, which I'm not because I already have one. So,
Yeah.
Speak a little bit.
you know, screw these masks, bro. Like the most important thing would be that like that person loves God more than they love me. Like they're more interested in pursuing God than they are in pursuing me. Because otherwise, it's just not gonna work. Like God's the thing that holds it all together. So
Yeah. So I think for me it'd be someone that I could have a deep friendship with. And that includes like having deep conversations with,
Yeah.
but also just having a good time and being able to joke around with them and just being able to be myself with them and have them be able to be themselves with me, and just someone that we can just be deep friends and just get along for. Just every time I'm with them, I just want it to be enjoyable and for it to feel natural as well.
That's friends.
More?
no cap.
Nice. You have more? Jake?
Drake.
No,
Jake
you
has some good stuff right there.
you-
She saw the.
Yeah, I saw that movie. You really want
I'm
to
going to stand by what I said earlier about the whole Reformed theology thing. I think that's pretty important.
She needs to be Calvinist.
She's a Calvinist.
Calvinist.
Calvinist. Any Presbyterian girls out there? I would say what's most important for me outside of being Christian is that not only that she's Christian, but that she's willing to do she's willing to do anything, go anywhere for the gospel. So she's not a coward, basically. Yeah.
All right. Is that it? You guys want to answer more? No. You
Yeah,
move on?
let's go to the next
Okay.
question.
Next
Walking
question.
here.
Are you guys okay with doing manly tasks of the household?
What are manly tasks?
I would sure hope so.
So like, if we're talking about like lawn mowing, yeah, like taking out the trash.
I don't know if that
Yeah.
one's got a gender to it. Lawnmower? I think anybody can do lawnmower.
I don't know.
My mama ain't never moved.
What is manly tasks?
I don't
Same.
know. I didn't ask this
Yeah.
question.
That's okay.
Well, the common things you would assume
Yeah.
culture
Like,
says are manly
fixing
tasks.
the lights
Yeah.
or driving the car.
Yeah.
What
I think
else?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
think-
or like financial things.
Making
like,
barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely
for
think
sure.
the natural assumption is that for us, it's more common for us to get dirtier and do the things that need to be done around the house that women normally naturally wouldn't do. Or not to make it seem like women can't do it, but I definitely think that I'm okay with it because I've grown up doing it so much that it's just natural.
Yeah. So if there's something to carry like heavy that you would do for her, not
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
let her do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm cool with doing all the tasks. The woman tasks too, you know, like, whatever.
Okay.
I'm here to serve, you know, that's the,
Alright.
you know, that's the point. Like in marriage, like, you're supposed to just do anything, like, it doesn't matter if it's like traditionally viewed as like, that's what the woman's supposed to do, or that's what the
Yeah.
man's supposed to do, you know? And to be honest, when it comes to like paying taxes and stuff like that, I know I'm gonna need some help. I'm not good with the documentation stuff. Someone just fart?
No.
No.
You know, I don't know why else anyone would be
Wait. I think also it comes down to our responsibility as men to steward what God has given us well, and I think part of that is stewarding your household well, and like the things that need to be done, you make sure they're done. One of you has to do it,
Yeah.
and I think it's the responsibility of the men to like make sure everything is getting done. Like if something's not getting done, you got to do it. I especially think it's most natural for us to do the traditional manly things and get dirty, but I think we can do everything. Like Enoch was saying, I think like doing dishes and like cooking, I think that is all.
I'm a nasty chef. Like good. Like I can cook.
In so many ways.
I'm nasty.
Why?
Don't put that in the video. Don't put that in the video.
You wanna speak?
I do.
Yeah.
I think there could be some overlap in some sense. It's not that women, are not allowed to do a manly task or a man can't do a task that a woman would normally do. I think there can be some overlap, but in general, I think it is a common courtesy for a man to do that which is more laborsome because I think his physical body can take it more. So if you're able to have the opportunity, it's not that the woman can't do that or even shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a trait of a good man to take that responsibility upon himself, I think.
This is my personal question because I haven't written down anything here. So this is just random thought, but would you guys change your hobby for a girl you love?
No. Why would I have to change my hobby?
No,
Wait,
let's
like
just
time?
say, not in that sense, but let's say she likes to, let's say she likes to walk a lot, right? But let's say you don't really enjoy walking.
I'll add more hobbies onto my hobbies.
So like, would you tell her like, oh yeah, I like that too?
Yep.
Or would you be like, no, I don't like
Oh,
that?
I wouldn't tell her I like that. I wouldn't lie and be like, oh, I love it, man. Oh, if you like it, then I love it.
Yeah.
No, but really, like, the truth is, like, if there's, like, something that you like and you really love, like, don't hide that from me. Like, it doesn't matter if I like it or not. Like, please tell me, because, like, I want it to be there for you, too. I don't want this to be, it's not all about me. You know?
Oh. What about you, Keegan?
Yeah, I mean, like, supporting what the significant other. Like, supporting what the wife in the marriage wants to do. I think that's a really big part of just, like, our service and our responsibility as the husband. And I mean, that goes both ways. I'm sorry, saying the husband is very funny.
The husband.
This topic changed from dating to marriage. Okay,
Oh,
go
we're
on.
talking about dating?
Yes, we're talking about it.
But
I mean-
how are we going to talk about marriage if we aren't even married?
But is it easier?
we're talking
Yeah,
about
like the household
It's
chores thing was kind of a
Yeah.
question.
So
That's true.
it can bounce both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways.
You're
Yeah.
not
Would
supposed
you?
I think
to live in the same house.
I think mine ties to all three. So 3 questions is like be flexible. So it's the same thing with household items. The same thing with the hobbies. Even though I wouldn't like a hobby, I would probably do it. I would probably see if I actually like it. I might have just left it alone, you know. And I would try give it a force as it's something important to her. It'll be probably important to me too. So even if I don't like it, I'll give it a try.
You guys all agree with that? Next question. Okay. Let's see. Because you know what? Girls are not that curious.
Girls are not curious.
I'm just joking. There's
Guys.
not that much question as much as you guys wrote. Oh, I have one. How can a girl tell if a guy who is more introverted or quiet likes her? Maybe someone who's introverted can answer this.
I think
Who are
I think
introverted?
one of 2 scenarios usually happens. When you're around this person, right? When you're around this person, you're either unusually quiet, even though you're already quiet, but you're even more quiet and you're very observant, or you're unusually talkative,
Oh.
specifically to that person, and you're asking them questions, you're getting to know them and whatnot. So either you're really nervous, or you really want to get to know them, and you're unusually talkative for your
So like you're
personality.
two extremes.
I would say so, yeah.
Either
It
you're
could
like
be one or the
super
other,
talkative,
because I've experienced both.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we got some more questions up in
Yeah.
there.
You got some
Alright.
more questions
I
coming
submitted
in.
some questions.
What about you, Peter?
For me, I do not consider myself mainly an introvert,
Oh, really?
and that's not how I interact with women, certainly. So
Uh-huh.
I don't think it applies to me.
So you think you're not introverted? You're
No, I
extrovert.
don't think I'm mainly an introvert, at least in the way I interact with people.
Okay.
I think you would go out of your way. You would do
Uh-huh.
things that are typically uncomfortable for you in social settings in order to get to know the person. I think that's the biggest indicator.
Is there anything else you guys want to say? Nope.
I think Vadim hit that one on the head.
Yeah.
Wait, to add on to that, I think that goes beyond just introverts. I think that's just like guys in general are gonna like.
Is it?
But I think it's more noticeable with introverts.
It's
Oh yeah, actually that's definitely true.
yeah.
Then what about extrovert guys? How do they show? Like, how do you know that if? How do girls know that?
Oh, we got ask this guy.
Oh, yeah, the most extrovert.
Oh no. I mean, it's kind of funny because like I think if like as an extrovert, like I'm definitely an extrovert. You guys already know it. But yeah.
Do you think
Like, I guess I'll just give the example of like when I was like first realizing that I liked Lydia, like I was scared, bro. I didn't like my personality like switched up like to the opposite. Like I just like didn't say and like just like tried to stay friends with her. Like I actually tried to friend zone her. If you're watching this, Lydia, I'm sorry. Because I was scared. Like I was scared to like get attached. But I think that also comes from like past hurts. So I wouldn't say that has to do with extrovert introvert. But I think like what Vadim was saying, like if you're an introvert, then like you can tell that some, like you like somebody by you're just talking to them a lot more than you normally talk to somebody. And if you're an extrovert, you're like scared to talk to that person.
Oh, so it's the opposite.
I think it often shows like in the opposite ways.
That's
Because like when
interesting.
you're nervous, you do things that you don't normally do.
Oh. So introverted guys become more talkative, and extroverted guys become like more quiet and reserved.
I wouldn't use that as a blanket statement,
Uh-huh.
but that's what I've seen a lot. But I mean, it can also work out the other way too. You know, sometimes somebody who's extroverted might just say a lot of stuff that's just really dumb. You know, I've seen that in myself. Yeah, like, oh, I wish I didn't say that. I just embarrassed myself. Or introverted guys just like can't say anything. So I don't know. It really depends on the person. I don't think that you can just have like this formula that's like, oh, how do you tell if this person likes me? Well, it just depends on the person. You just got to get to know the person better. Honestly, that's the only right answer. Is just get to know them better. Spend more time with them.
Thank
Ask
you.
them if you're that desperate.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Maybe don't though.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to? Nope. Okay, moving on. What's something that girls do that really turns you off or makes you not interested in her?
I have one.
You have one?
You barely like know the girl, and then like you're going for the first date or maybe, and then she says, God told me you're my husband in the first date or something like that. So
Oh, like that, like
I would
God
say,
told me that you're my husband.
yeah, I would say that's
You didn't tell me.
When he told me you weren't. So.
that would be a big I don't know.
I think it's a universal turn off.
Yeah.
I would say feet. That's nasty, bro. I don't want to see those.
Girls, it's okay. Fit is beautiful. That's fine.
You know, some guys might think the exact opposite though. So,
Yeah.
Kiss the
Everyone has different types, so that's
you know, like Keegan. I'm just kidding. You don't have to put that. Don't put that in the video.
But Ian, what?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't
All
put
right,
that in the video.
I got one. So I say a
Sorry.
big turn off for me is someone who's really selfish and self-centered. That's really a big turn off.
So, yeah.
Can we hear more about that? What that
Yeah.
looks like?
Can you give me
Just someone who you can tell because they mostly talk about themselves and they don't really care to get to know you. Well, sometimes they will because they're interested in you. But sometimes it's almost like so that they can make themselves look better in a way. And also they don't care to get to know anyone else as well. And yeah, if they're just always talking about themselves and not really like lifting others up but putting others down in a way to lift themselves up. I don't know. I'm really not into that. And I think that'd be for like a lot of Christian guys, especially. Really.
Yeah, like to go further on that, like some more. I don't know if I would say like. Well, I mean, I would say that, but I think the biggest thing that's like an actual turn on for me, you know, I'm not talking about feet, right? But I think the biggest thing is like somebody who's just like not compassionate. Like just has no compassion. Like for me, like I have a big heart for like whoever's like the weaker person in the situation. It doesn't matter what. Like if I don't see that same heart, like we ain't rocking. Like I can't even be good friends with somebody who doesn't have compassion for others. It's like definitely wouldn't consider being a partner with somebody who's like not compassionate. Like I need to see that heart of compassion, otherwise like that's so not having compassion, like just like being a bully or like just being like insensitive, that's definitely that's a turn off.
I would say somebody who's argumentative. Not that like she's not to say that she's not like critically thinking or she asks questions, but just like quarrelsome just to do it, just to be annoying, just to stir the pot. That's a big turn off for me.
Some guys like that though.
Yeah, that's
You?
weird.
No.
It's weird, bro.
But what about this? Like
It's called
some
feisty, bro.
some girls when they like flirt, they might like tease you and say like, oh my gosh, why do you look like that? Or like,
Just like
Right, yeah.
no, or like
no, I
what,
get
what
that.
you just said, like pearl song. What do you
Yeah.
mean pearl song? Or like kind of tease on the what you said. Like what about that? Like, do you think that's a turn off?
I think that's case by case too. I think once you get to know somebody, like you can kind of tell with their expressions and their mannerisms if they mean what they're saying or if
Yeah.
they're just saying it to
joke.
just to joke around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
teasing and picking a fight for no reason are two different things.
That's
Okay,
true.
alright.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you don't want to be someone who just picks a fight for no reason. Because
Yeah.
that's just toxic.
yeah.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's a waste of
Yeah.
time.
But lightheartedly, jokingly,
That's fun.
Yeah.
it's funny.
That's
man.
fun.
It's funny.
Then what do you
I
guys? Yeah.
I thought of 3 different things while everyone else was speaking. So, someone that's really, really out there, like they're constantly the center of attention, and they make themselves the center of attention, and they do so intentionally. So, I know some people, I don't know, could unintentionally be the center of attention all the time, but if it's typically noticeable if they're intentionally doing it. So that's definitely one thing. Especially, I think, me even more so because I'm more reserved, and so when I see that, like, I just don't want to be near that. Like, I hate drama, I hate conflict,
Yeah.
I hate people that are really loud. Well, no, not like that. Like, that are
What do you
intentionally.
You were like, not like that.
I didn't mean it like that. Like,
Okay.
in the sense of them being the center of attention constantly.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
and hate. I said hate. I don't mean hate. I mean it's a turn off for me.
Yeah.
And then the other two kind of connect a little bit in some ways. Superficiality and
Yes. Amen.
not being a critical thinker. So,
That's
like for me,
That's true.
I like to have really good conversations, like deep conversations. And if someone can't do that while I'm in conversation with them and they keep it superficial, like that's right away.
Yeah.
For me.
yeah.
And also, like, if they agree with everything I say and don't challenge my ideas
Yeah.
and don't make me think about my own ideas, in the sense of them being a critical thinker themselves and having their own mind and not just listening to what I have to say, then that's definitely a turn on as well.
That's a good one.
I think for me, I think I'd probably speak for a few guys, but I think it's definitely a turn off when women are looking to like bash guys for like being men and just like, hey, like I can't do any. You think I can't do anything? You think like
Oh.
like you just say something and they're like go on this feminist thing. Like that's a huge turn off for me.
Yeah.
Just like meekness and like how do I say it without being super
Taking a joke.
no just like I would say like it's the man's part to submit to, but it's like a mutual submission, and I would say that's really beautiful when both people are submitting to the Lord instead of one person or the other person. It can go for men and women too, just are looking to like advance their own rights or something instead of submitting to the Lord and mutually submitting to one another.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's kind of like that made me think of another thing was if I can tell that you're doing or saying something because you expect something in return, because like you expect me to say something in specific, or like you expect me to like just for like a pay in return type of thing, like a transaction, that's a big turn off for me too.
So it's kind of like,
'Cause-
oh, you look great today,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
what do you think about me?
yeah, yeah. That's
So
not
it's
like,
like you want an answer,
yeah,
right?
it's that like superficiality, like instead of getting down to like a deeper conversation, to just talk about what you're really thinking, you're just going around and saying
Yeah.
like, oh, I might be thinking this,
Like
and
shallow
you have to figure it out, kind of. Yeah.
Or like playing games where like you're supposed to like do something and you're expected to do something, but you don't know what you're supposed to do, and all this like you guys know what I'm talking about. And it just dude, that's so annoying.
I thought of another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the best word for it, but clinginess.
Mhm.
When you have one conversation with someone and they assume that you're like super into them, or like you're
Yeah.
not your best friends,
Mhm.
and so they constantly look to like speak with you and create opportunities to like always be around you.
Oh, you're popular.
Not really.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know.
like in a way that's almost invading your privacy, like invading your space, like too much.
So
Like
what
I
is-
just met them.
Mhm.
We had like one brief conversation, and now they're like all up in my face every time I see them, like
Oh.
approaching me. Like I see them across the room, and they're like, "Look, it's you!" And they come to you, and they want to have like a whole conversation, and like assume that it's such a deep friendship when I don't like I barely know them. Like there's still a lot of ground to cover before we could get on that level and have those kind of conversations and have that kind of connection that they assume that we automatically have from one superficial conversation.
Alright.
I think that it's definitely, I'll just say it in the positive, and then you can deduce the negative from it. But I think like women that really take care of themselves is really attractive, and the opposite is not so attractive. Like when you're just like look like you roll out of bed all the time, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like you don't really care about how you look or taking care of yourself. I think that's a huge turn off too. Not to say that like you have to dress up all the time, or like you have to show more skin, which is certainly not what I'm saying, because modesty is super beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's just like you have like respect for yourself. Yeah.
I have one thing to go with that thought. I think it's the same kind of train of thought where it says like she has like a clear perception of her goals or objectives. So like what he's saying is like, oh, she's more or less, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's more like not much of a clear goal. Like I'm doing this, or even if she doesn't have, at least she's focused on objective in front of her, not just.
So she doesn't have her own like goal, and she's just like shifting this side.
Not necessarily like in a way slacking off, like how he's saying, you know, this sleeping. Oh, I'm tired of doing this, you know, because many people find the goal objective while they go through that. It's more like at least focus on what you're doing, you know, objective at the moment.
I want to say something quickly on what Peter just said too. It's not that girls can't dress down, but we appreciate it when they do dress up.
Oh.
Like,
Same for girls.
yeah, like I get that.
Yeah.
Like we
appreciate
we
you guys right
appreciate when
now.
girls get dressed up, and we like it when girls can get scrubby, and we're all like just kind of scrubby as well. I don't know how some of you guys feel, but that's how I feel. Like when a girl can dress up, I can appreciate it. When she's just kind of having a scrub day, I'm like, hey, dude, I'll scrub down with you, but
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know what that means, bro.
being scrubby like wearing sweats or like just your
Okay.
shorts.
Okay.
and-
not an insult.
Yeah, it's like you're
Well,
just
that's
very
cute
plain.
too,
You know, it's
sweatpants
just
are
a simple day.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of tired of looking nice.
And with messy
Yeah.
buns,
Yeah.
like it's okay.
Yeah.
You can have that days too.
I know maybe every single person in this room will disagree with me. High heels are a turn on.
High
Oh,
heels.
I hate high heels. Oh my goodness. Well, it's just they just don't look good. They just look cringy to me. And
They make you feel
And-
short.
and I'm totally fine with
Okay.
feeling short. That's not an issue. But it's just like they're uncomfortable. I don't like to see somebody wearing something that I know is making them in pain. It's like, bro, wear some Jordans.
Sponsored
That's what I
by
wanna
Jordan.
see. Just wear some Jordans.
Yeah.
No, we're not
Please.
sponsored. I wish.
So raise your hand if you agree with the high heels are a turn off.
A little bit.
I-
They're not.
I'd
yeah,
say
They're
that.
not like a turn off. It's
Kind
just
of.
like
Unnecessary.
they're not like.
Yeah, it's not a turn on.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm
not
like,
a turn
oh,
on.
she got some
Okay.
I think when it's forced. Because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So
Like, if you
okay.
can tell they're struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a first date, and she's on her high heels. Will you just like not
Saw
talk
those
to her
heels off.
anymore?
Give me those shoes, girl.
Stop it.
Oh my God.
guys.
Too much graphics, guys.
Next, is it okay for girls to have guy friends? Let's say is it okay if your girlfriend has guy friends? Like a lot of guy friends.
Define guy
Okay,
friends.
let's do it this then. Versus, right? Do you want her to have 100 guy friends that they text like just not really often, but like they do text, or like 10-year-old really close guy friend?
Okay.
Would you rather?
I'm gonna talk about. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about a rule that I set for myself first, so that it doesn't sound like I'm not somebody that's like trying to be controlling. Like you shouldn't do this. I have made it a point to never have a best friend that is of the opposite gender, because I think it builds intimacy, whether romantically or not. It's still intimacy, and at the end of the day, that's like I only want to have intimacy with my partner, my future partner, my future wife. Like, so every first moment, whether it's a first like good conversation, whether it's a first like time pulling together or something, like just the two of us, like the more first times that I can have with like somebody that I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, that's better, because then it's like, bro, like we go way back, you know, like we're like we've been there for each other since day one, you know. And I also think like, I don't know, it's just like if you do have a best friend that's a girl, like once you get a girlfriend, like if I had a best friend that was a girl, once I got a girlfriend, like I know that we couldn't be that close anymore. Like that's just gonna cause jealousy. But like some people are like, oh okay, I'm fine with that. I'll just stop being best friends with this girl when I get in a relationship. But time is like a very relative thing. That's still something that happened in the past. So it still can cause like feelings of jealousy, or like feelings of like, oh, I was left out on that, like even though it happened in the past. So I think that rule should apply for most people. I think every person's different. It depends, you know. Some people might disagree with me, and that's okay. Like, but for me, like, that's a rule I made for myself, and you know, that's not something that's going to be like, oh, if you had a guy best friend, then we're not going to consider like dating you. No, but personally, I don't believe that that's like the wisest choice.
And girls feel the same way. Girls don't want like guys to have a lot of girlfriends.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a crush or like.
Kind of goes back to what Tim said, the first question. The most important thing in the relationship is like how deep of a friendship you have with your partner, in a sense. So definitely touches on what Tim said.
I mean, you guys would feel jealous if your girlfriend has a guy friend. Yep.
I wouldn't feel only jealous. I would say, hey, I'm your best guy friend, and you don't have other best guy friends.
Guy
Period.
friends. She didn't say best guy friend. She said guy friends.
Yeah,
Okay,
guy friend.
or I'm your only close guy friend. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it, like, that's like. Now it depends on like where you are in your relationship. If you just started dating, too bad, you don't get to have that say. If you're like, if it's later down the line, then like I'm gonna be clear, like that's not something that I want like or approve of, you know. And yeah, I think you know Lydia has a good understanding of that. Like, we both agree like on the same point, so you know there's no conflict there. But you know that's something you got to think about. If you're in a relationship, like what are both of your guys' views on that? Try to like really understand each other.
I think actually, I think it depends a lot of times on how she acts around them. So if she's like super like flirty with a bunch of guys and everything, yeah, probably not. But I mean, if they've been friends for a while and like each other more casual friends, I mean, it just makes sense. Just depends on like the type, like how intimate of stuff she's sharing with them. And like there should be boundaries in place as well. So it's not like she cannot have any guy friends at all. Like that's totally fine. You can have guy friends. It's just, well, how does she act around them, and then also, like how intimate is she with them, like emotionally? Yeah, make sure that healthy boundaries are set, guys, as well.
Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah.
And I also think it depends on how the guy acts around her too, because if the guy is super into her, then no, I'm not comfortable with that. But if like you can tell they're both just mutually friends and don't have feelings for each other, then that's a lot more acceptable.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would you be for Tim in response to that? Because I agree with you to a point. Because like, for example, my best friend Kevin, he's like basically part of our family. So like, you know, all my sisters are like really close with him, even though he's not like technically my brother. Although my parents said they might adopt him when his mom passes away. That's another story. Like obviously, you know, if one of my sisters got in a relationship with a guy, that would be a completely different thing. Because it's like he's basically like from the circumstances, it's basically her brother. You know, so stuff like that, obviously. But my question for you, Tim, was like, would you be okay with like just your partner and that guy friend hanging out together, just them? And that
That's a
can you
question.
honestly tell me that wouldn't
Yeah.
like make you feel jealous at all?
I would say it depends on where it's at. If it's more in like a public setting,
Like if they went out to go get dinner
Doesn't want
together
that.
No.
at a restaurant.
Not dinner.
Oh, that's
Not dinner. I say not dinner.
yeah, probably
Lunch,
not.
Do
coffee.
you want to
Okay.
hear
Dinner?
a
Yeah.
secret of a girl's
What's the
mind?
difference between
What?
lunch and dinner?
Sometimes I think most girls do this trick on guys, and like they intentionally make their like crush or boyfriend jealous,
Well, once
just
they're
to
your
see,
boyfriend-
just to test like how much they're
Yeah.
into them. But they do. Girls
Don't do that.
Don't do
That's
that.
stupid.
That's
Just
stupid.
do it. Just
Oh.
No,
If you
they
have
do
to
that.
test it,
Seriously.
Those are games.
you have
Those
to
are
test
games.
it,
Yeah,
Games are out.
No,
Games are
guys,
out.
but
No,
they
that's
do.
gay.
I like
No.
games.
But that doesn't mean it's a good
Sometimes,
thing just
but
because they
not
do
that
it.
I know,
That's morally
but
reprehensible.
right, girls.
Zero,
Let's play Monopoly.
Zero maturity.
No, I think
No,
I
but,
think
yeah.
I think some games are fun, like flirtatious games, like. But going to the point of hurting the other person, that's
that's
just too
I'm out.
far. Like
Yeah,
making
that's
somebody
fun.
jealous.
It's also
is-
cute to see them jealous.
No,
No?
making
No,
somebody
no,
jealous.
no,
is
Not
not
us.
hurting.
No.
I should talk with
no,
girls
no.
and come back later.
Intentionally making somebody jealous is like that.
It's like
That-
it's like
that
picking a
causes-
fight without needing
Toying
to pick
with
a fight.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With you.
Oh, really?
It hurts.
So you guys don't want that?
Manipulation.
No.
I would say it
Never.
hurts.
Yeah, that's like needlessly picking a fight.
Okay.
Honestly, in my opinion, that's needlessly picking a fight,
Alright.
and
It hurts,
just don't do that.
Alright.
It's painful. Like people have done that to me, like in the past. Not Lydia, you know, but in case you're watching this.
Because if
Not
people-
saying anything bad. Like that's painful. Like that is like a deep like wound that like can bring up
Scar.
other past wounds. Like that's like serious stuff. You don't play around with like people's like insecurities like that.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not a game. That's not funny.
And if the guy were to flip it on the girl would like snap instantly, and the guy would die. Metaphorically, of
That would
course.
snap physically.
But you know what I mean? Like
You'd be gone.
you'd be gone. Like she would break up with you on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's in the starting for a toxic relationship. Like it's in the road.
Yeah.
It's in the
It's
road.
manipulative. I mean, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Alright, then we'll
I
stop
agree.
that as girls. We won't do that again. Next question. Do you like being pursued?
I do.
No.
I love it.
Two extremes.
No.
God pursues
Would
us.
you appreciate a girl asking you out?
Yeah.
This is very
That
nice.
is a good question.
it is very nice.
I don't know what that really means, asking you out.
Really don't know.
I'm not really somebody who actually even believes in dating.
Oh, okay.
I think that it's good to be friends first, with the intentionality of like getting to know them better, and like you know, just kind of slide in the relationship, like real smooth, you know. But
Go on.
I think I heard this somewhere. Okay.
But you know, and I'm not trying to contradict my point of like, oh, you shouldn't have like friends of the opposite gender. I think that when you have friends of the opposite gender, that should show intentionality of getting to know them better. You know, just kind of checking them out. You know, not physically, but like as a person checking them out. Maybe a little bit of.
So is your answer no?
Just kidding. My answer. What was the question?
Guys,
I'm sorry.
Do you like being
do you like
Do I like
being
being? Oh, I
pursued?
really like that because first of all, like that's like a big, you know, thing. Are you okay? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm okay.
In my relationship with God is like, so, like that's something that I'm always like wanting. You know, maybe this is an unhealthy thing. Like I always want God to pursue me. Like sometimes
No.
I like struggle with the doubt.
What?
Like, oh, is God like really loving me, or is
No.
it just me?
Are you God?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay,
I'm trying
okay,
to connect it.
alright.
Like, when I got saved,
He's trying to circle that.
it was when I realized that like God loved me, and that it wasn't just me doing all the work. And that's like when it really just hit home for me, and I realized like everything came together. I was like, wow, like God actually like cares for me individually. Like I'm not just like a gear in the mechanism like that's supposed to do all the work, and like I have to do everything to earn like God's love. But when like I realized that God pursued me first, that meant a lot. And I think that in pursuing God, both partners pursue each other at the same time. I don't think it's like the guy does all the work. That's taxing. That's like that's not how it is. Like Peter was saying earlier, like you both submit to God, you both pursue God, you both like it's not just like one person doing all the work.
But why do
It
you?
plays out in different ways.
Yeah, like you said that, Peter. But why do you disagree with?
Yeah, because I was in a relationship like this, and it made for a very unhealthy relationship. And I believe that biblically the man is the leader in the relationship, honestly, and should be doing most of the initiating, like 70, 80%, I don't know, 90%.
Can you explain what made it so unhealthy?
Um,
A little bit.
it was just like, man. It was like, I don't know I really don't know what to tell you, but it made for a very unhealthy relationship. There was other things that were unhealthy about it, but that was one of them, I think. And I think like initiating is primarily the man's responsibility as a leader in the relationship. So like starting certain conversations, opening up certain channels of communication, doing stuff like that, I think that's the man's primary responsibility, to be honest.
So what do you mean by leader?
Leader, like for example, if I'm friends with a girl and I like her and we're like hanging out a little bit more, and you know there might be like I might be like, maybe she has feelings for me, and we're kind of spending a little more time together, and I believe it's the man's responsibility to define the relationship and initiate that conversation. Like, hey, like, it's been so good to get to know you, and like, can we continue to be friends and getting to know each other? Like, I have feelings for you, you know, that kind of stuff, or like maybe the next step is like dating, you know, whatever, like being in a relationship, whatever that looks like, but stuff like that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Anyone else have a comment?
I would say, so for me, I'm not really on like either side. I'm not like strongly against or for it. Like I personally don't care if a woman like decides to pursue, but I don't expect her to. So if I like her, I know that, at least I feel like I know I have to be the one to initiate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. I think there's a difference. I think in my mind when I heard you ask the question, I was thinking of like the long-term continual pursuing should be done by both parties, because you know pursuing isn't just the initiation. Like, oh, I asked you out. All right, I pursued you. Oh, I asked you to marry me. All right, I pursued you. I think those things should be from the guy. But I need to know that like my partner's on my team. You know, I need to know that you're there for me. Like I'm not gonna. I can't do it all. Like I can't do it all. Like I need help. Like I need you to pursue me sometimes too. Sometimes I'm gonna be absolutely a mess and absolutely a wreck. Like I need you to pursue me in those moments. I need to show you to like give me affection and like pursue me with your love, because like if you don't, I don't have what it takes to like be 100% pursuing all the time. and that also just shows like it's a very one-sided relationship. So I think that's what I meant when I said like pursuing these seven, and also flirtatiously. You know, like I think both parties should flirt with each other. It shouldn't be just the guy only making like flirting. You know,
No, yeah.
even before like the relationship begins, like the ways that like a girl flirts with you is a form of pursuing you. Ultimately, like you're expected to like make the first conversation happen. You know, I think for me, it was kind of weird because we both just danced around it for so long that it was like we both already knew that we liked each other, and you know, we at that point, I said I was jealous because Lydia was FaceTiming Garrett, and then, and then that's how we had the conversation. So that's like, you know, I think it depends on the situation. You know, not everything's gonna be like very clear. Like, will you go out with me? Because you know, when you're somebody that like me that just takes forever to make a decision, it's gonna be a little weird. But
Alright, thank
Yeah.
you.
I agree with that.
Thank you so much, Enoch. But can I just ask you, can we like keep it short for each person so we can
sorry.
everyone can speak? No,
Sorry,
but
guys,
it
I
was
talked
really
too much.
good. It was really good. But we have a lot of questions that we're getting now, so. Alright,
We're gonna have a lot of
so
work ahead
get
of us.
ready now. You're
It's a long
guys. Alright, what is your favorite non-sexual body part on a girl?
Oh no.
Eyes.
That's a compliment.
Wait,
Oh wait, what?
is that a thing?
I would say.
That's 20 push-ups.
100% eyes.
Smile.
Ooh,
Smile.
yep, smile.
Smile.
Yep, that's what
We
I'm saying.
can't see smile with mask right now.
I know, that's why it's so sad.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It hurts me
That's
Yo,
so much.
if I see
Smile's important.
a great smile,
Only
oh man,
us
it gets me
smile.
every
So
time.
a great smile, but also someone who smiles a lot as well.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that too.
And like a genuine smile when like they're laughing and like their smile just gets like huge. Oh,
Huge, like. Okay.
These things right here.
Eyes.
Eyes.
I love the eyes. They're so cool. And like you can just like, you just get lost in somebody's
Yeah.
eyes, like for real.
Eyes.
I would say her laugh,
Mhm.
like in particular, like I mean, there's been times like before where there's a girl that's caught my attention in class and like the professor will tell a terrible joke, but she'll laugh, and that's like the best part of the class. I can back up.
I understand that one. I understand that one.
I like that.
So laugh. Girls
A
laugh.
laugh is a body part.
What?
I think hair is pretty important too. Like
Armpit hair?
braided hair especially is really attractive.
Oh, bro. Dude, I actually, same. I love braided hair. I think braided hair is actually really cool.
Okay, girls, braided hair.
It's different for you.
No.
Yeah,
It's different.
Yeah, it is.
These guys like
Okay, Keegan.
Yeah, what's up?
What's yours?
it. You haven't said anything.
I know, I want
You're just chilling in the corner.
I mean,
No.
I mean,
Bro, just
Sorry.
I wouldn't say like the smile or the eyes. It's just like this is really generic, but it's just like whoever they are. Like I feel like everything about them is just going to attract me, and it doesn't matter like whether or not they have a huge smile or like a really awesome laugh. And also like what you guys were saying with like eyes and smile, those are like, and hair, those are like definitely the best. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think there's anywhere else that this conversation can go. Because if there's any other answer from anyone else, it's gonna be really weird.
so let's go to the next question.
Let's just end it this way, okay.
Pull out that Song of Solomon.
Oh jeez.
Twin funds.
Okay.
Gosh.
Tower neck.
Do you guys like it when girls dress up for certain events?
Yeah.
Yes.
We already mentioned
Only
this,
with
so-
Jordans.
Okay, alright.
This
Okay.
That's good.
Oh. Guys, this is getting.
Intense.
Just
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Just
Shoot it,
say
shoot
it? Okay, oh.
It's late.
I don't know if I can say it. Okay. What do you think about saving your first kiss for your wedding day? guys just became so depressed.
I'm not
If,
opposed.
You're not
if
opposed.
that's what she wants, I'll do it.
Really?
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
Same
you
here.
can't touch her.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, you can touch her, but you can't.
can't kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
You guys all okay?
I
Can you not get it up?
I think it's honorable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really honorable idea. I am against it on the basis that I don't want that special first moment to be shared
Like
awkwardly
publicly,
in front of
right?
a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's an intimate,
That is-
private
That's
moment.
That's
actually
true.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
That's a good
It's like
point.
if you're gonna
public.
do that, like at least
Uh-huh.
like
At
before,
the-
like the night
at the
before
dinner.
or something. Like don't get up on that stage not knowing what you're doing. And, like okay, so Lydia was telling me a story. Like she went to a wedding where they had waited until the day
Oh.
and they kissed and they were like they started making out and then like they were like they left for like 45 minutes and then like it was like super awkward at the wedding. So like
Yeah, but it doesn't. Not everyone is like.
No, that's not
that,
very
that is just
But still,
extreme example.
but I'm against it because I want that moment to be special,
Mhm.
not like a show.
Oh.
And I don't want to be putting on a show. And I know that that's like that's a big thing for some people. They feel like they have to always perform, and like they keep their image up. And I don't want that pressure on me or my partner. On, like, our
Do you
first
think it's
kiss.
hard to like?
I think it's good to
save
wait.
up till wedding day.
Is it hard?
Is it hard?
Yeah.
It is difficult. Yes.
It's difficult.
It's difficult.
It's not. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
it's
would be
not
a
as
problem
an
if
issue.
it wasn't.
Anthony, what do you think about this issue?
I agree with Enoch. Like, it's an interesting request that I don't totally agree with. Because like Enoch said, the kiss isn't. It's just. It's gonna be awkward that first time, and like your family,
Your mom,
your
your
family's
dad.
gonna know, right? They're gonna be like, it's the first time they're ever gonna kiss. It's just gonna be a
Everyone putting
spectacle.
camera in
Everybody's
front.
gonna be taking pictures. It's like you don't need that.
Yeah.
So.
You know, wait till the night before. That's good. Like, you're still waiting. Okay.
I think it's somewhat easier for me to agree to that because I grew up in a culture where that was much more common. So, but those objections are definitely things I've considered. So, it's
You have to
gotta
get.
balance it out.
It's one sentence. On the subject of kissing.
Okay, one sentence.
I promise.
One sentence.
All right.
I'll keep it short.
One sentence.
I don't think that you should kiss before you also make that same commitment with your words and say, I love you.
Period. Okay, you're done.
Okay. Jake, you're saying?
Well, I was just say I think you have to think about what's the wisest way to conduct a relationship because once you start, it's special and you want to save and you don't want to perform and that's sure. But once you have that special moment and you're not married, you're not close to your wedding day, even if you are close, the closer you are to your wedding day, the more you're going to be tempted to think, well, we're almost there anyways. And the more you're going to be tempted to go, the more you're going to be tempted to progress.
Yeah.
Because once you start something like that, it's extremely difficult
Yeah.
to stop.
Oh,
So you have to consider what's the wisest way to interact with each other.
yeah, that is very true.
Peter, did you want?
Yeah, I think in general in relationships, when it comes to boundaries, you have to submit to whoever has the higher standard, and whatever that standard is, whoever has the lower standard needs to raise their standard to match that. So, and this applies in this situation as well.
I actually have a question on this that I think is very helpful for girls.
Yeah.
So, do you guys think that you should ask the girl to kiss her, or do you think it's okay just to like go in for it?
Nah.
And I think that probably I wanted to find this on like Enoch's terms, where he was like, once you've already said I love you, because I think that's actually pretty legit. But like, do you guys think that you just go in for it, or do you be like, can I kiss you?
After you've already said I love you.
Sure.
I would still say, you know, you don't have to be like, can I kiss you? You can be like, yo, so we about to do this?
up for it.
It depends on so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Okay.
But I think for girls'
Personality.
perspective, we will appreciate you ask the first time. After that, you can like,
Yeah.
if that passes
Yeah.
by, you don't
Yeah.
really have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
But at first, you
Informative. We needed that too.
if you have that situation that you would have to ask first, because or else you might be committing sin. You know.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
definitely ask. That's not like a bad way. It's like the safest way to go. Just
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. But you can be funny when you're asking. You don't have to be like.
You're gonna ruin a. Okay,
No.
never mind.
Well,
Let's
it depends
go.
on the person you are. You know. It depends on your relationship. But be you.
Okay.
Don't be awkward.
Question: would it matter if your wife was the financial provider in your family?
No. Give me that money. I'm gonna need it.
Okay. No.
I think it definitely hurts our pride.
Oh really?
Okay, I'll speak for myself. Because the way I was raised, my dad was always like, you need to have a good job, you need to, do well, you need to be able to provide for your family, provide for your wife. You need to be the man of the house. Like, you need to be able to do all these things so that you can have, your family can live comfortably so that they don't have to worry about their next meal or if the bills are going to get paid. And so I think for me personally, my pride would definitely take a hit if my wife was the financial provider.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's for me personally. I don't know how all the other guys feel, but
I think I can second that. I also grew up in a culture that was very traditional in its outlook of family, so it was constantly explained to me that, I need to be the provider, I need to be the man, I need to take care of the household, so just that idea has been a part of me for so long. So I think it would be uncomfortable for me to be in a position where I would have to rely on my wife's provision. Let's put it that way. But I don't know. Maybe things can change over time. Your outlook on that, I don't know. But I mean, like in temporary circumstances, that wouldn't bother me. But like long-term situations, like for the span of like our entire marriage, I think it would be very uncomfortable for me to constantly have to rely on my wife's provision.
Yeah. I think that's true. Like there's seasons. You know, that sometimes you're not gonna have a job. Your wife's gonna be making good money. But like ultimately, yeah, it would be like easy to like fall into like believing lies about yourself. Like, oh, I'm not a good man because like I'm not like getting that paper, you know. But I think sometimes that's good because God can humble you through that process. So.
So if
Just
it's like
depends.
temporary, it's okay. If
Yeah.
it's like you're looking for a
Temporary.
job and she already
Yeah.
has a job,
Years.
and then you can like have a job and like all that. So. All right, good. Another question. Okay, this is a funny question. At what point in the relationship can you fart around each other?
Day one.
Day
Baby.
one?
Do you like this?
I mean, that depends on so much. I think.
I think it's
That's
till,
the case by
till the
case.
first accidental slip.
After the first accident,
it's okay.
a little squeaky one.
Alright, maybe we should move to
Yeah.
No, keep it going.
Okay.
Gosh.
Are like guys emotional sometimes?
No.
And how often do you guys cry?
A bunch of guys are pansies out here. It's ridiculous.
I
So-
cry.
You cry.
I used to not cry
Mm-hmm.
ever.
Yeah.
But I think it shows maturity when guys cry. Or at least it shows that I think guys that don't cry are in need of healing. I didn't cry until I started like going through healing from my past and stuff like that, like really being intentional about that. And I started crying. I don't cry a lot. I still like have a bad habit of like shoving it all down. And then I think most guys struggle with like turning their like hurt into anger instead of processing it through like crying. So when guys are angry, it's because they're hurt, usually. But the proper way, I think, usually better. It's okay to be angry. Like, yeah, take your anger and go punch some trees, whatever. You know. Wait, this isn't Minecraft. But like, it's good to cry instead of like yelling at people.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I think maybe like guys were taught when they were a boy like that it's not normal to cry, but I think it's okay to cry.
So I think I would draw a distinction between where you express your emotions, because I would say all of us cry. I've only met like one guy that's like, I've never cried in my life. I'm like, okay, you're weird. But I think I would think that most guys cry, but I don't think I would ever cry in public. I think it's a more private thing, especially for me. Like, it's mostly like in my relationship with the Lord and in more private moments with Him. But like publicly, I would do my best not to. Certainly. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Jake?
I think I agree with that. I think guys nowadays, on the most part, have been given this sort of emotional like group hug mentality where it's not only okay to be emotional, to express your emotions, but it's like it's an honorable thing to do with everybody. And I think at some point, like, not that being emotional is bad. Obviously, guys have emotions. I think at some point, if you can't be with your emotions, and you can't get past this group hug mentality, somebody has to say to you, like, you got to put on your big boy pants. You got to. I think there's a reason that Paul says to act like men, to be strong. That's what he says. And there are strong ways to express your emotions and to share them with your wife, with your partner. But to do that out in the open and make it a common thing, and like, we're not supposed to take God's name in vain. We're not supposed to treat it as something that's common. That's just like everything else. So if you do that with your emotions, I think it's dishonoring the sincerity that it should like bring with itself.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tim?
I don't know. I think it'd be hard. It's kind of hard for me, I would say, to cry in front of my significant other. I think, like, at least the first time. I think the first time would actually be really hard for me to really, because like, crying in public is not a big thing, unless it's like spiritually. Like, if I'm like really just with the Lord, like in worship, that happens.
Yeah.
Or if I'm crying laughing, like that happens too, which is fine. I love that. That's awesome. But like over deep pain, there's not many people I really let see that. Like even my best guy friends, I would have trouble with, and I think a lot of guys do. So yeah, it'd definitely be a big, like, if I do that in front of you, that like shows that I really trust you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not gonna cry in public, but it's gonna take a little while for me to really do that in front of you. And don't expect me to if we've just got together, you know. So yeah.
Awesome.
I'm kind of like with you guys also. I was just thinking about the actors who have to cry in public, you know. I'm joking.
Like if you're acting, then you would
Yeah.
cry, but not.
No, actors, like the job to cry. Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree with what Tim says. It's okay to cry, as long as like you're with the person you really want to show or something. It's not just like for anyone. Yeah, it shows that it's okay to show emotion, but just not for like everyone. It's for the person.
Can I tell a really quick Dr. Sauer story
Yeah.
about this? Really quick. He told a story about this guy who was in the tunnels, and I think the previous week his friend had just passed away, and he's walking through the tunnels, and he like collapses and he starts crying in the tunnels there, some guys come up to him and like they consoled him, and they went back, and he goes and he tells his girlfriend. And his girlfriend breaks up with him, and he goes to Dr. Sauer, and he says, Dr. Sauer, I was crying in the tunnels about this and that, and I told my girlfriend, and my girlfriend broke up with me about it. And Dr. Sauer, she goes, ooh, well, of course she did. She doesn't want some wet noodle, some dish rag for a husband. Because his point was, not that you can't be emotional, but if the woman is convinced that you can't deal with your own stuff, then how are you going to help her with all of her baggage too? You can't do it.
But for me, in girls' perspective, I don't think that's the case like 100% because
Yeah.
girls want guys to like talk, like girls want to be the one that they come out first when they're having like troubles, and they want to know. And if you're just like concealing that emotion, I think that won't be like a real
Yeah.
communication. But also, we wouldn't want like a son. You know, we would want a guy, like a husband, not a son. So. Like, you can come up to us, but, like, you shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much hard time, oh my god, and like, just dragging us down, like, just, mom, kind of like that, you know? Like, you do show your, like, you know, share your thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I'm having a hard time again, I'm so sleepy, I'm so tired, like, constantly doing that with you.
Yeah. It's
Alright.
very convicting because I do complain a lot sometimes.
Wait, where was Jesus when he wept? Like, was he just with his 12 disciples, or?
No, he was in a group.
Yeah.
It was
I think
for
when
people.
it comes to death,
Yeah.
that's something different.
Well, Lazarus.
Death
Well,
is
Lazarus died.
death is different. It's something that's meant to be processed in public. Death is a very different animal. It's a different animal. I think as a rule of thumb, when it comes to crying, like, own your emotions. Don't try to make other people feel bad for you and be manipulative.
Yeah, that's true.
But you were saying.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the last time I cried was at my mother's funeral. That was over a year ago, in public. Before that, I don't remember when I cried in public.
You guys have time, or do you want to end right now? What do you guys think?
You could do a few more.
Just depends if you get good.
If we keep the answers short.
Let's, how about we aim for 11:30?
We all,
10 minutes?
11:30?
yeah.
Yeah.
We all talk in sentences.
Oh,
Do like
okay.
a rapid fire,
Switching the topic.
3-word answers.
You
Just pick the
got.
most important questions.
Okay, I mean.
Whatever
Like
you think is
interesting.
important.
Or like short.
Okay,
answers.
what are ways that you show interest in a girl?
Flirting.
Give me examples, like specific. They want to hear specific ways that you,
Going out of your way to create opportunities to be around them.
Mm-hmm.
like, examples. Yeah.
I mean, you create things like scenarios where you could do things together.
Yeah.
Like, yo, let's study for this test together. Yo, let's go do this together. Let's go for a walk. Let's do this. Let's do that. So you create scenarios and where you can spend time with them. But something you wouldn't normally do with anyone else.